Do you think people care if they know, like a customer, if they know that they're calling and an AI agent answers? Do you think it's like comforting to them because they don't have to talk to somebody and they can book what they want? Or do you think immediately they're like, nah, next?
It depends on the quality of the AI agent. And there's various levels of quality on AI agents. My personal belief is and sorry, Aaron, on this one, but like
It's okay.
the AI agents are going to become closer to a commodity in the very beginning. And right now you've got a pretty good disparity on the level of quality. Obviously, we use same day right now. So
For sure.
you know, you've got a vote of confidence for me on that one. At ServiceTitan, we have everybody's booking rates from all the ones that are integrated with ServiceTitan, and that includes several, including ServiceTitan's own AI agents. What we find is that some are worse than others, but the gap is closing. As AI gets better and better, they're learning the same stuff. And so they're going to get closer and closer. So it's going to come down to what other things do you have that gets a company excited about using same day versus
Whatever.
XYZ other one, right? And while that's happening, what also is happening is they're getting closer and closer to sounding like actual humans.
Yeah.
And it's going to become harder and harder to understand what's a human and what's not. We are very close to the point where you're going to call into your home service company, your cable provider, your whatever provider, and you will have no idea whether or not it's
So you don't
AI
think that
agent or not.
So in the interim, you don't think that contractors should be nervous about that's I guess what I'm asking. Like, should contractors be nervous about adding an AI agent when they're like a family shop and their daughter or whatever answers the phone?
Not at all. Now, as they get better, it gets easier to implement and faster and understanding. I mean, right now, the technology is booming and it's getting quicker and quicker to implement something at your shop. When we first implemented same day, it was, I think, March of last year, right? So almost a year ago. Or is it the March before that?
We're going almost 2 years now.
Yeah. So it was March of the previous year.
Yeah.
It took us like 3 months of dialing things in to get live.
What's onboarding now?
Our goal is to get you live and booking your first job same day.
Same day.
Yeah. So now we have.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
Yeah, it's getting faster and faster. It's ServiceTitan, same thing. Like, we're really pushing really hard to, like, on all of our products, not just AI answering agents, but everything to get better and better, because that was the big thing at ServiceTitan. Is like, gosh, it's such a big product and does all these things, but it shouldn't have to take 2 months to get something live.
Right.
And everything's getting that way because now with AI, we can just turn stuff on and say, oh, well, it's going to figure out how you run your business anyway, and just going to turn stuff on for you and just do it right the first time and move on. And so it's changing the whole game. And with that, contractors should be more comfortable with going on it. The reality is that a lot of the small guys, this is your chance. This is your chance to get in there and use the things that the bigger companies use. It's leveling the playing field for everybody. And if you're not taking the opportunity to jump on and start doing things with AI, you're missing the boat.
Yeah.
You're the ones that can move faster than the big companies that have to roll out this whole plan and, you know, figure out what they're going to do with the 1,000 CSRs they have and all that other stuff. You've got like 2 CSRs. You can make a move and a pivot in a day and you're good to go.
You know what I think is the reason that we endorse same day, obviously, is like the average company is spending 8 to 12% on marketing to acquire customers. It's just kind of like industry standard. Mm-hmm. And it's an enormous amount of money. And you do it through traditional marketing, digital marketing, social media marketing, just to make the phone ring. And a couple years ago, these leads were like $34. And now it's like $180 a lead, sometimes even more.
Double that.
Double that. And private equity groups who came in and competed for all these keywords, and it's increased the price. Every phone call is like extremely meaningful. And when you have a minimum wage employee who the CSRs are often the lowest paid in the company, and they're vaping and, you know, having a bad day or whatever, and they answer the phone with no empathy, don't take notes, don't care whether the call is booked or not. It's like you just waste so much money. You waste all these leads. And in a human on their best day, I think phenomenal, right? Everybody would book that call. But often humans are not on their best days all the time. But the AI is.
Yeah, now it's really cool. This is what we obsess about now. 5 years ago, it was just answering the phone call, right? We thought that was cool, and it would take a message, and that was like, would blow your mind. Now, the biggest restraint we have on the AI is not just, getting onboarded and set up, is just how do people run the business? Like people, we can only book so many jobs as you have capacity to do. So now what we've done is built out various agents that can now, we've essentially codified best practices like scheduling for dollars. So we can go into a new business and say, the way that you want us to set this up for you is not going to be the best practice. Like this is the best practice. Now you have AI agents. We have a full agentic AI where it's now logging into Service Titan and can rearrange Service Titan in order to optimize itself to be able to book more jobs.
For us muggles, what is agentic?
It's an AI. So there's obviously the AI we use to answer the phone, but now we have AI that you interact with as the business owner within our app.
Oh, got it.
And it'll go do everything for you. No more pressing. You don't even have to press a button.
That's cool. And it takes the right notes. That's the other thing. CSRs often will book a call, and then when the guy's going to Service Titan to show up for the house, it doesn't have like age of the house, the equipment and all that stuff.
Well, it gets to the point where it's like, oh, how do you measure a booking rate? Well, only a fraction of what affects a booking rate is actually what is said over the phone. And if you compare AI agents side by side, right, and you go, oh, well, how does it sound? Well, that's definitely what's going to be commoditized. But then you have to start getting into how is the business operate. If you don't have capacity of technicians to service a job, then how are you able to book the job to begin with?
Right.
And 95% of these businesses, HVAC, plumbing, whatever, like they don't have any sort of sophisticated process for running their dispatch boards for scheduling jobs. So now it's, hey, we're codifying these agents to know how to override Service Titan's capacity in order to prioritize the highest value jobs. Luckily, Service Titan has adaptive capacity, which should try to get a bit closer to that with their APIs. But
don't get too technical. But
I love to get technical.
No, I know. Well,
that's why I'm here.
Yeah. But basically what you're saying is that your AI could essentially dispatch for dollars.
Of many things, yeah. We have people that do fluid scheduling, which is, from a customer's perspective, the worst type of scheduling that you can do, where you're not actually going to tell them when they get there.
What do you guys do? Lease.
On scheduling?
Yeah.
Like,
do you guys do fluid scheduling or do you do Windows?
We do Windows.
You do.
Yeah. Anyway, but to the point, right? How do you measure a booking rate? And it goes all the way across the business. And to Tom's point, right? The agents that you hear are going to be relatively commoditized. What the data shows us now that we've answered millions of calls. I think we're approaching 2,000 locations now across the US, Canada, Australia that use same day agents. What we're finding is that it doesn't matter how human-like it sounds. It matters what does that person need to hear in order to book the job and not call the next company.
Yeah. So there's not a positive correlation between the voice
not at all
and booking. It's the questions and other things.
The questions, There's actually quite a bit more than just the voice and like the quality, as quote unquote.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the questions that a lot of people are worrying about, because I want to go back to your question earlier when you're talking about whether or not they should be implementing.
Yeah.
He mentioned some good things about AI is getting better and that kind of stuff, and it's getting smoother. What I think that people really need to realize and think about is that it's not about your best agent on your best day. And it's not about how well your two CSRs can book right now. Because some people say, man, I only got two CSRs and they're both amazing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And it's going to be great for your $2 million a year business. I'm not interested in $2 million a year business.
Yeah.
Those are the businesses that come and go and have massive failure rates and all other stuff. And those are the businesses that I'm stressed out in and sweating and like worrying about going bankrupt every other month, or worrying about whether or not I'm going to make payroll because we had a COVID happened or something, some crazy thing happened. What I want to do is I want to have a scaled business. I want to be scalable. I want to be able to get to 100 million, 200 million, whatever. My largest business this year is going to do over 120 million. And that's one of my several businesses.
Yeah.
I have another one that'll probably do about 70 million. I have another one that's going to do 23 million. I can't keep doing these businesses resting on a couple of good CSRs.
Right.
and making sure I'm only going to hire the best all the time.
The best.
And like every person says, oh, my employees are great. Sure. I think my largest business now has over 400 employees.
Wow.
It's way easier, way more scalable, way faster and everything else to use an AI agent. I've never had an AI agent call me and call in sick.
Right.
I've never had an AI agent, try to hit me with a workers' comp claim. I've never had an AI agent, have their mom die and have a bad day or whatever. Like I've never.
Is workers' comp a new revenue stream for us?
Yeah. Well, the reality is like, you don't realize once you can get the people out of the mix, things get so much more scalable, so much more quickly. If I taught lean management classes, right, on how to get lean in your business and lean, it used to be called lean manufacturing. It was developed in Japan actually after World War II. Toyota really like became the kings of it, and we brought it to the US and implemented it everywhere. What we found is that in those things, when you can remove one simple step, like having to flip a switch or copy paste or do whatever,
Right.
each time you do that, it drastically increases the effectiveness of your business.
It has a compounding effect if you don't do that.
And in your business, if you take that principle and apply it to people, as you can reduce the amount of people and moves that you have to make inside a business, the faster your business can scale,
Right.
and the faster you can get to massive wealth creation and truly have a business, not like a giant side hustle that you have to be at every day and run around like a chicken with your head cut off. And well, if I'm not here, this whole place is going to crap. You shouldn't have to worry about that.
Right.
And AI solves a lot of that. It really, really, really automates all kinds of things.